Hey, I'm Kenneth, but everyone calls me Ken. I just turned 33, and let me tell you, I've got quite a story to share. Before today's events, I didn't really believe in karma or anything spiritual. I thought it was all just in people's heads. But now, I've had a change of heart. I totally believe that what goes around comes around. And it's all because of my mean mother-in-law and her family. Well, except for my amazing wife, she's the exception. Despite growing up around all that negativity, she's still a wonderful person. Now let me tell you about the crazy stuff that happened on a sunny Wednesday morning in my house. Hey, could you come down here real quick? What's up, honey? I need to ask you something, and please don't say no. My wife gave me those adorable puppy dog eyes. And honestly, who could resist that? She explained how her mom, Georgina, was coming to town and needed a place to stay. I knew what she was getting at, and I quickly said no. But babe, it's just for the weekend. Can't you handle having a sweet old lady around for a couple of days? Let me tell you, that lady was anything but sweet. She was like pure evil, I kid you not. Dealing with her was like living in a horror movie. I often wonder how my wife turned out so kind despite having such a nightmare for a mother. As I started explaining why I couldn't handle having Georgina around and suggested she stay in a hotel, Kimberly started looking really sad. And like I said, I can't resist her sad face. She's got me wrapped around her finger. So reluctantly, I agreed. Kimberly was over the moon, thanking me like crazy. Since you're being so good about this, I'll make sure she behaves too. Don't worry. Hopefully you won't even have to see each other. It'll all be smooth sailing, I promise. Well, that promise didn't last long because what happened next was totally unexpected. It was Friday afternoon, and Georgina, my mother-in-law, was about to arrive. We prepared the guest room with everything she might need and some stuff she likes, hoping it would keep her from causing drama. Around noon, the doorbell rang. Kimberly, busy in the kitchen, called out, "I think she's here, Kenny. Can you get the door, please?" I prepared myself and opened the door. Standing there was a woman with a not-so-friendly expression. It wasn't a smile. It looked more like a scowl. My mother-in-law. I greeted her. "Hello, Kenneth." "Hi there. How was your trip? Are you doing okay?" I welcomed her inside, taking her stuff and doing all the host stuff without being too pushy. But I could feel my irritation building as she started her never-ending complaints. "Wow, Kenneth, the patio looks amazing. Did you do this?" "Yeah, it looks absolutely lovely. I'll need to snap some photos soon. Oh, could you take those bags upstairs to my room, dear? And could you also make me a coffee? I'd like a caramel macchiato with whipped cream, please." Did she think this was a Starbucks? If you've ever seen A Streetcar Named Desire, you might get an idea of what Georgina was like. She acted just like Blanche, all high and mighty with a touch of fake innocence. She strutted around like she was a gift to the world. I can't stand that kind of arrogance, especially when she's being rude. Just then, Kimberly came out of the kitchen to greet her mom. "You look stunning." "Oh, come on, Kimberly, do I? You're just saying that." "Well, you do look great. It's this new diet I'm on. You should try it. You could use it, sweetheart." "But not this weekend. This weekend is for relaxing. That's why I ordered my caramel macchiato. Speaking of which, Kenneth, when's my coffee going to be ready? I'm thirsty. I need something to drink right now. I might faint." See what I have to deal with. After enjoying a delicious lunch prepared by my wonderful wife, I had to quickly Google how to make a caramel macchiato. Georgina made it her mission to point out every little flaw in the meal, followed by a quick, "It's fine. Don't worry too much" to soften the blow. But she made sure to remind us to be extra careful next time to avoid making those silly mistakes, as she called them. She seemed to enjoy talking down to us, and while I could handle it, I could see it was getting to Kimberly. I mean, how could she not be bothered? That was her mom, after all, and Kimberly didn't have a mean bone in her body. I couldn't say the same for myself, though. I'm the type who likes to get revenge when I can. Later in the afternoon, Georgina went on and on about how much she loved the house. Well, she had a unique way of expressing her love for it. Sure, my time in Bora Bora was nice, but Zanzibar was even better. The scenery was stunning and the people were lovely. This vacation won't be as fancy as those, but it's still a vacation. Maybe it'll humble me a bit, since I've been to so many fancy places. It'll be a nice change of pace, I guess. I'll be honest, I zoned out of the conversation many times, and whenever I checked back in, it was still going on. Georgina had a way of making things drag on longer than they needed to. Anyway, we spent the afternoon chatting, mostly Kimberly and Georgina. I was just there, like a decoration, making sure Kimberly was comfortable. Every now and then, I'd chime in to make it seem like I was paying attention. Around 4 p.m. that evening, things started to get a bit weird. You know, Kimberly, I've been complimenting your house ever since I got here, and I have to say, it's stunning. Thanks, Mom. We've been working hard to make it nice, and Kenny and I spent a lot of time getting ready for your visit. It's so good that I can't keep this beauty to myself. What do you mean, Mom? What are you saying? Well, you know, on my trips to places like Cancun, Fiji, or India, I always bring along some friends or family. I don't like traveling alone, especially as I'm getting older. It's become a bit of a tradition for me to have companions like Ursula or Justine. Oh, that sounds nice. How are they? It's been a while since we talked. Funny you ask, because they're actually on their way here now. You can catch up with them yourself. Kimberly nearly chokes on her coffee at this unexpected news. I would have done a spit take too if I had anything in my mouth, because I was shocked at what she just said. But I kept my cool and managed to say, Kim, let's go to the kitchen, now. We headed to the kitchen to talk about this bombshell. Please tell me she's joking, babe. I don't think she's joking, but you only told me she was coming. We only prepped for one person. I'm just as surprised as you are, babe. I didn't know anything until now, just like you. I started pacing in the kitchen. So what do? I guess we'll have to tell her we only prepped for one person, and maybe we can put the girls up in a hotel. They can come over during the day to hang out with Mom. I sighed in frustration. This was also inconvenient, wasn't it? Nope, a sarcasm. As much as I cared about Ursula and Justine, my aunt-in-law and sister-in-law, I wasn't keen on entertaining them all weekend. They were a bit like their mother, not as bad, but having them all around would be chaotic. We argued about it until Georgina herself showed up in the kitchen. What's the problem? I think it's a nice idea to have other family members join us for the weekend. She started pouting, and strangely, it had the same effect on Kimberly as Kimberly's pouting had on me. When she wanted to, Georgina could get her way with those puppy dog eyes. I guess Kimberly inherited that skill from her mom. Oh no, Mom, please don't be upset. It was a nice thought, but we just can't handle this sudden change, especially on such short notice. Kenny and I were thinking of putting Ursula and Justine up in a nearby hotel, and they can come over during the day. Angeline is also coming with them. So you want 4 extra people in the house? I'm sorry, Georgina, but that's not going to work. Oh, Kenny dear, don't be such a stick in the mud. Jolene has to come. She hasn't been part of the tradition, and she really wants to join in. Plus, she's your younger sister-in-law. We have to make room for her. And honestly, you're not even considered part of our real family, so it makes sense for you to leave and for the girls to stay. It's just for a couple of days after all. Mom, how can you say that? Kenny is our real family. Is he though? You're putting him above your actual sisters. That's not what I meant, Mom. The main issue is space. We're worried there won't be enough room for everyone. I'm glad you brought that up because I've come up with a solution that will please everyone. Okay, let's hear it. Okay, so here's my idea. Ursula and I can share the bed in the guest room since it's big enough, and Jolene can sleep in Kimberly's bed. There was silence. I was completely lost. I looked at my wife, and she seemed just as confused. Finally, I asked, So you want 3 people to sleep in one bed? That's uncomfortable and inappropriate, don't you think? Yeah, Mom, we're adults now. It's not appropriate for me, my husband, and my sister to share a bed. Aha, I knew you'd say that, which is why I think it's best if Kenneth doesn't stay here during this time. Again, silence. At that moment, I think she finally lost it. So you want me to leave my own house? Kenny, dear, don't call me that. Kenneth, don't talk to me like that. Kimberly, are you going to let him speak to me like that? Look, I don't appreciate you coming into my house and making last-minute demands. It's not fair. If you wanted a girls' trip, that would have been fine if you planned it in advance. Why didn't you just tell us what you wanted? And saying I'm not your real family was rude. I didn't think you'd get so upset now. Honestly, you're acting childish, don't you think, Kim? I don't know what to say, Mom. I don't think it's fair. Oh, you dumb people and your sensitivity. I didn't do this on purpose. It must have just slipped my mind. I'm sure you understand. I didn't quite understand, but when I looked at my wife, she was silently pleading with me. I caved in, feeling frustrated, and said, Georgina, better communication would have been appreciated. As I said earlier, I wouldn't have minded if you ladies wanted a girls' trip for the weekend. I could have gone on a trip with the guys or worked at the orphanage. But springing this on us isn't fair. We're adults, even if you see us as your kids. You're a guest in our home, and you need to respect that. I stayed calm and politely pointed out her mistake. She scoffed, walked around, and even laughed at times, seemingly trying to avoid the embarrassment of being confronted by her sister-in-law. Nevertheless, I stood my ground. You want to have a girls' trip and have everyone here for the weekend. Fine, you want me out of the house? That's fine too, but I'll be back after the weekend. With that, I kissed my wife on the cheek and headed to our room. Kimberly tried to reason with her mother, telling her that what she did wasn't okay and that she seriously upset me. But Georgina just laughed it off, treating me like I was overreacting. I packed some clothes in a duffel bag and left. I booked a hotel room online and headed there, but not before stopping by the orphanage where I regularly volunteered. As I mentioned before, the orphanage is called Open Arms, and I love working there. But dealing with unruly and disobedient toddlers, children, and teenagers is no easy task. As I spent the evening playing and helping out the children, I couldn't shake off the thought of how to get back at Georgina. I'm not evil, or at least I don't think I am, but I do believe in teaching people a lesson when they deserve it. I guess that's why I'm good at my job. I had a good connection with the kids, showing them both love and discipline so they wouldn't take advantage of me. We got along well, to the point where some of them could tell something was bothering me. Ken, is everything okay? One of them asked. Yeah, everything's fine, I said, apologizing for losing my cool. I explained the situation to him in simple terms. He was just a kid, after all. But surprisingly, he understood and even sympathized with me. With all due respect, Ken, your mother-in-law is crazy. Tell me about it, I replied. You've got to get back at her somehow, just to teach her a lesson, right? But how? We thought about it for a while, but I couldn't come up with anything. Then Maverick said something that changed everything. We could help. What do you mean? We could help. If you take a handful of us kids and bring us to your house, we could ruin her weekend. I thought about it, and then it clicked. Maverick, true to his name, was an evil genius. It was a perfect plan. The kids would get a fun weekend away, and I could get back at my mother-in-law for disrespecting me. We made plans like two evil geniuses plotting world domination and waited until the next day to put our revenge into action. The next day, Saturday, went like this. Kimberly answered the doorbell and was surprised to see Maverick and a few other kids. Why, hello, Kimberly, Kenny. Oh, Maverick, hello, how are you? Then she noticed the other kids and looked confused. What's going on, babe? Oh, nothing. I thought I'd bring the kids along to join in Georgina's lovely vacation, I said as I walked into the room, followed by 5 kids aged 6 to 10. They were known as the rowdiest bunch, but they could be sweet when they wanted to be. It was when they felt disrespected that they'd let loose. I promised them ice cream if they caused chaos. Hello, Kenneth, how are you? Oh, who are these lovely children? Good morning, Georgina. I hope you're all well. I see the rest of the gang made it. Hey, Kenneth, how are you? I'm well, thank you. Who are these kids? Oh, these children. They're from the orphanage. Yes, we can see that. But why are they here? Good question. Maverick, would you like to answer that? Well, Ken told us about the lovely vacation you were having in his home. And we've never been on a vacation, so he invited us over to join in. The in-laws, who were sipping mimosas and eating croissants in the living area, gasped in horror and shared looks of disbelief. Some of the kids started grabbing food from the table. Bacon, pancakes, orange juice, causing chaos. Georgina stood up and pulled me aside. What's the meaning of this? Just as Maverick said, I wanted the kids to have their own little vacation. I'm sure you wouldn't mind. How can you bring all these kids into the house? This is too much, and someone named Maverick is bound to cause trouble. This was supposed to be a relaxing weekend for me and the girls, you know this. Oh well, I'm sure you wouldn't mind. It's only for a couple of days after all. Listen, I know you're upset. No, you listen here, Georgina. I'm tired of you acting like you own the place. If you want to stay here for a vacation, that's fine, but the kids are staying too. They deserve to enjoy just as much as you do. So maybe next time you'll remember it's not nice to inconvenience others. And with that, I didn't give her a chance to respond. I walked back into the living room to see the chaos unfold. The little girl, don't you dare touch that. That's an expensive designer bag. Stop it. You little troublemakers are causing chaos. Is this what vacations are normally like? Because if so, count me out. The ladies were being harassed by the unruly children, causing chaos. You might wonder how Kimberly felt. She was in the corner snickering. She found it funny too. You might also wonder how I felt watching my house get torn apart. It was worth it to see the looks on my in-laws' faces. I didn't mind cleaning up. Maverick promised they'd help. I just wanted to witness the chaos as the prim older ladies dealt with the chaotic children. Well, everything seems in order. I'll be on my way. I'll pick up the kids tomorrow or Monday. Cheerio. And with that, I left, laughing in my hotel room. I called Kimberly and told her the kids weren't meant to bother her, just the snobby ladies. If she needed a break, she could stay with me. That day was one of the best of my life.